What's going on, everybody? Mike here. If you'd like to join the ever-growing Fly Casual community, please take a moment right now to subscribe to our channel and share with a friend.
About some Mandalorian.
Mandos.
Mandalorian.
This show blows, Jelly.
Good night.
Wow, that was
All Star Wars sucks now.
I have
Star
spoken.
Wars
Disney
is
Star
dead.
Wars is awful.
Dead forever.
Good
Go
night.
away.
Now, because we already played the full outro theme in its entirety, the podcast is technically over. So everything from this point forward is just like the hidden track.
Bonus.
And
So if you stuck with us this far,
we were
Yeah.
totes lying.
yeah, also we'll probably just peter out at the end because we don't have a way to end this one.
It's called sarcasm.
Yeah.
Look it up.
Try it
In the
sometime.
dictionary.
Mandalorian's pretty great show, guys.
Yes, it is.
I would agree with that. Howie's
I
disagreeing.
don't know.
Howie's a little on the fence.
I'm waiting on episode 3 to really fall off the this track.
Yep. I loved the fact that right after it came
It's
out,
got to hit a wall eventually, right?
right after the
It can't be
first
this good
episode came
all the
out,
episodes.
all these people like come. I'm seeing these handful of reviews coming out going, well, I mean, it's pretty one dimensional. I mean, it's just your standard, your standard old
Western.
spaghetti Western beat off. And I'm just like, you have seen 35 minutes of a series,
Right.
you wanking hole.
That kind of criticism is few and far between, though.
It is, thankfully.
Generally, this has
But it
been.
seems to be those are the people who are farming clicks. They're trying to keep the rage roll going. But
Of
unfortunately,
course, right.
Mandalorian's having a little bit of a peaceful effect.
Yeah.
on
Here's
the thing.
here's the thing right now. This has been, so far, we're only 2 episodes in, the unifying factor for the fan base right now.
You would say it's a unifying
it is
force among
pretty-
Star Wars fans?
It is pretty universal
On
So here,
at the
IMDb,
moment.
over 13,000 people have rated it.
Whoa.
It's a 9.1.
Yeah.
Out of 10.
on Rotten Tomatoes,
Yeah. Give me the RT.
89% critics rating,
89?
94, 89 audience, 802, 94%.
Yeah. That
Yeah.
feels about right.
That
Pretty
means
That
universally
is too
loved.
low.
Damn
That
good.
is too low.
It is too low. It is too low. No, honestly, if I really want to, I can pull apart some things that I would have done differently, but I don't care because I love it overall.
Yeah, it's just nitpicking.
Yeah, like I would
Yeah,
have
at
to
this
nitpick.
point, right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which I've known to pick a few nits in my time, but I have no desire to because this show gives me so much joy and fun. I laugh, I cry,
did?
I pee a little.
What? What made you pee?
So what
I've
do you
been
guys
taking a lot of medication.
do you guys want to kind
Oh,
of just
okay.
run through the general plot of these 2 episodes here real quick and then we can
Tough.
start?
Mando said they say go get a thing, and he goes and gets a thing, and it's a Yoda baby.
What?
It's a Yoda baby.
And
Spoiler.
then he beats up a rhinoceros after getting beat up on by some Jawas after reenacting the first level from Super Return of the Jedi on SNES. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, we're good,
Yep, that's
Yeah.
the show.
and it's the best.
So it's great so far. So essentially, we've been introduced to the character of the Mandalorian. We don't know his name. It's just a Mandalorian who is a bounty hunter at
somebody
this
was
point.
saying that
I know that he
there's a
leaked
slide
it,
on the name.
supposedly.
I don't care. I don't even care.
I
I
didn't-
read it, didn't just wrote it off.
I haven't read it yet, and I'm not going to, honestly.
It did spoils
It's not
nothing.
Boba
for me.
Fett.
Right.
so
That's
there-
what I've
There you go.
heard.
Spoiler: it ain't Boba Fett. So,
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter what his name is.
and if you think Boba Fett sounds that young after going through Sarlacc juices, you out your mind. You gotta have that gravel.
So essentially, we start off, and the nice thing about it is that, I mean, right away we kind of get everything set for us, right? I mean, we see that he's a bounty hunter. You know, he's the first scene is basically he's picking up a bounty.
yeah, he rescues and then
rescues and
rescues,
then
kidnaps
arrests.
and carbon freezes Horatio Sands.
Was that Horatio Sands?
I know,
Yeah.
right?
No way.
I had no idea till afterwards, and I read it, and I'm like, God damn, Horatio Sands. I used, back when he was on Saturday Night Live, I hated him. I'm like, he's just like the generic goofy fat dude that breaks every single scene. Since then, I have come to love Horatio Sands. Like, he
Yeah.
is one of my favorite people. I've done a total about face. And when I found out that was him, I was like, holy crap.
Nice.
Horatio
I knew who
Sands
that
is
was.
in Star Wars.
I knew I was going to know who that was when I heard the name, but I
Yeah.
had no idea it was him.
No, me neither. I
That's
mean,
hilarious.
makeup does a heck of a lot, but also, I mean, you can, now that you know, you'll go back watching, you're like, yeah, I see it, but he's also not just being Horatio Sands. Like, he's really
He's not
leaning
anything
into
like
this
him.
character. I think he did a great job.
Yeah.
As the
Mithril.
dude,
Mm-hmm.
blue fish man.
So
Creature from the Blue
basically,
Lagoon.
we see him. He's on this planet. It's on like an ice planet. He comes into a bar. He finds him there,
Like you did.
and he's getting ready to get. They're getting ready to gut him or something for
Yeah.
his glands or
Yeah,
something.
they're gonna sell his glands at the port. bro.
They're sweet.
They're
The-
So,
because he's
The
young.
tusk or the
The musk would be sweet.
musk is.
But the great thing, he comes in and he doesn't say a word, and he makes short work of these big tough guys, right? And
Yep.
he gets his quarry and goes back to the ship.
Yeah,
and-
after the Rock's dad slides him an empty cup and he smashes it on somebody. Yeah.
yeah.
Not the Rock.
Rock,
the old
a Rock.
Fox. The Fox show.
There-
called
oh,
Rock.
gotcha.
That dude, I think,
Yeah,
was
that
like
dude's been in
third
lots of
Rock?
stuff.
I would also like to point out that guy has not aged in 20 years, and it's starting to freak me out. But go ahead.
It was all CGI.
They did a great job.
So I love it. He basically he's got to he has to hail a taxi of some sort, right,
Mhm.
to get to his ship, and it's great because he goes out and he talks to the alien that you see in
Kubas.
it's the is it a Kuba? No, Kubas is the
Oh,
big,
no. Koopas are the ones with the shells on their back. No, he's actually talking to Toad.
Oh.
Yeah, when you go in, if you go past the second level and then you go down to Toad's house and you pick, I think it's the third chest, then you get the warp whistle that you can you
I don't
blow
want
on the
the
warp
P-wings.
whistle, and then it summons the speeder that takes you into the warp land. And if you get a second one, you can go right to the second warp and you can go straight to like the last level and you can fight Koopa.
isn't
Yeah,
Kubas
Bowser.
isn't Kubas the big white hairy dude?
No. Kubas are the black
That's Godel.
snout dudes. They're
Okay.
they're into
All right.
espionage and stuff, like the
You're
one that
thinking
was
of a
in.
Godel, maybe? Is that what you're thinking of?
Yeah, I think you're thinking of a Godel.
No,
the
I
white
know
hairy
what-
dudes with the two
No,
horns.
no, big teddy bear looking thing.
Oh,
Was
that's a
it-
Tals.
That's a tall.
Oh.
You're right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, actually, the Tals kind of sounds like a Kubas. Now that I'm thinking about it, but yeah, no.
Anyway, so he hails a taxi. I thought it was interesting. He hails a taxi that's being driven by a droid,
yeah,
by an astromech,
A
and he's like,
perfectly nice
"No
looking,
droids."
brand new.
And
no droids.
Yeah,
It's like the first thing he says, pretty much.
yeah,
right?
pretty much. Yeah,
No, he says, "I could take you warm or I could take you cold."
That's right,
Before
right.
that, yeah.
yeah. So he hails a new taxi driven by a
Brian
human.
Hussein, yes,
And,
making a lifelong ambition that he probably never knew he had. That
being a
man-
Star Wars film.
Oh, that man is such a king of geeks. Like, this is probably like he actually okay. What assuming he lives in LA, he must have got up at like 5 o'clock this morning because I got done watching Mando and he's tweeting himself in front of his screen in his man cave with
Oh,
the
yeah.
thumbs up. Oh yeah,
Nice. That's pretty cool. I'm glad he got that shot. So,
I like it.
but yeah, of course he pulls up in a taxi that's all falling apart and barely functional.
Literally falling apart. Like a little
Literally.
piece falls off right when
Yeah.
it backfires.
Yeah. So they get to the ship and he's getting ready to board and the guy says, "Hey, these underwater monsters are
Stay off the ice.
Stay off the ice." And then of course he pulls away and gets immediately eaten,
Yeah.
which is great.
Yep. Exactly. And
And,
that's his line.
Now this scene in particular to me was a great indication of what Star Wars has been traditionally in the past.
Yep.
Because this monster eats him and then it comes for the ship, right?
Yeah. It's not
And
just
all
man
you
versus
see-
tech. It's man versus nature versus tech. You know.
Well, you see in the background this happening where he eats the speeder and the guy.
Yeah,
right?
and you just barely see like the like scales of
Right.
the monster.
And all you see is it coming, cracking, through the ice, and it's coming
tremoring at them, if you will.
toward tremming. Yes, exactly. And the nice thing about it is Lucas in his prequels tended to linger on scenes to say,
Overstate the hell out of
Hey!
everything.
"Look at what I can do with my computer graphics now.
You
Look
know, I
at
mean-
my computers can do."
Fact of the matter is, I didn't know if anybody went to the bathroom or whatever. I mean, I don't know when they're going to get back from the bathroom. So you got to stretch it out. You got to stretch it out. You got to stretch it out. Make sure everybody gets. Somebody might go get popcorn.
And make sure his kids get nice long looks on the camera.
Yes,
Right into the-
Linger.
Awkwardly.
That's my daughter Amanda. Take a look.
She's a
This is my son Jet. Look at him.
Jedi.
No, stop. YouTube block.
This is
YouTube
Katie.
block.
Katie is on screen right now.
This is in sync.
So anyway, my point is this whole thing where the monster jumps out and it grabs onto the ship, and it's really, in my opinion at least, understated, right? Because most of it's inside the ship and it's shaking, and he's like, oh crap, I gotta go deal with this.
Well, yeah, and when you see the monster, it's right up in it. Now, I used to always criticize the way that ILM would do stuff around the times of the re-releases of the original trilogy, special editions and stuff like that.
Right.
Because I'd be like, they're showing me, they're lingering and getting me right up in the CG, which is not that good. But in this case, it's doing it because it's chaotic, so you can't actually get a good glimpse of what's happening, because from the other direction, because you're looking up and you're seeing the Mandalorian react and deal with this, but you're getting the actual feel of what, from his perspective, it would also be. It's not completely analogous, but think of A New Hope, in the trash compactor scene with the monster. You get little glimpses of the monster, but most of it's just them dealing with the fact that Luke's been pulled under, and and it's all that stuff. So was this thing more walrus or hippopotamus, or was it a walropotamus?
I thought it was snake-like.
Well, it had like a sea serpent body, but its like mouth was shaped like a hippo, or its head was shaped like a hippo, but it had the big old walrus tusks.
I thought it had big tusks. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. But the fact that we can't really identify it tells it states the point that we're making.
It means that we didn't showcase every one of the three creatures that's going to come out and like strut around and growl for the camera before they're allowed to attack our three protagonists.
Exactly.
Could have used more porgs.
Oh God! Stop!
Way more porgs.
Throw porgs at it till
I will beat your ass.
That's the thing. There's no more porgs on that planet. There were, but they were all eaten by the hipporus, the walropotamus.
All right, so he finally gets away, and so you have this moment on the ship where
wait. Can we enjoy the fact that the first time we see him pull that rifle that is taken from the holiday special?
Yes,
it's to beat up on a sea serpent looking thing. Considering in the holiday special he's like riding that one, he just beats the hell out of it with the butt of it. I loved the fact, like,
exactly.
That's what it's for.
Yes,
I love that rifle so much.
The rifle is very cool.
I love it even more after the second episode.
Exactly.
So we got to get through this because we got a whole other episode to cover here.
Yes.
So we got to put the pedal to the metal to talk about what happened.
So what do you guys think about the use of the carbonite chamber in his ship? Garrick
identified it properly.
Okay.
As a what, Garrick?
A carbon freezing nook.
Yeah,
it's a nook.
Known in those of us in the ship, the underbelly ship sales industry as the carbon nook.
Yeah.
The carbonara nook.
Some people were skeptical of this because in Empire Strikes Back, this was something that was not a known quantity. And it was like, well, that was kind of a one-off thing. And blah, blah. No, and exactly. That's where Garrick's going, where I'm going with it. It's like, well, no. Finally, Boba Fett realizes this is something that they can use in bounty hunting trade.
Let's be honest. Jabba wasn't exactly keeping it under wraps.
Yeah, he hung it on a wall.
Check out, I have met his and her bathrooms. Right. Also, frozen guy.
Jabba sets the trend.
Yeah.
So the fact that he's carbon freezing his quarry is pretty cool. I thought that was pretty neat.
In my head canon, like everyone tries to pull the same stunt that Mithril did. They're all like, I have to use the bathroom.
All
so
of
the
them.
Mandalorian's got this
the vac chute or whatever it was called.
Down and just shove them into.
He doesn't feel the need to carbon freeze these people. He knows there's risk involved, and he's like, no, if you sit quietly, it's fine. Oh, you got to use the pier too, huh? I'll give you a 30-second head start. Then it's U-sickle time.
Like the Rhodian tried it first.
Yeah,
that woman, and then the other dude.
Oh, you mean Mara Jade?
Yeah, Mara Jade.
Yeah, Mara Jade.
Here we go again. Push this guy in the carbon freezing.
Every woman is Mara Jade.
Why can't they just stay in the chair? What?
Yeah, I know. I ought to just move the carbon.
I don't want
a
carbon freezing. That stuff's expensive.
Yeah.
So he goes and he collects on the bounty, right? And he throws down all his pucks or whatever they're calling it.
He pays him. Well, first he pays him Imperial credits.
He attempts to pay him with Imperial credits.
He's like, these are Imperial credits. Of course, Carl Weathers is all Apollo, and he's like, they still spend. And then he's like, fine, I'll give you half of that. And calamari flan.
Yeah, man.
Which, if
That's
you're
pretty cool.
going to have calamari flan, you need to take a Tums before and after, because otherwise you are going to be on the throne all night long. Calamari flan is not something I suggest.
That sounds terrible.
That sounds like the worst flan imaginable. I love the fact that they didn't go the new Lucas era route by saying Moncala flan.
Yeah.
They said calamari because that's what it effing is.
Because that's Dave Filoni. Hello.
Well, Filoni was on the helm when we switched to Moncala. That was during the Clone Wars when the terminology, Lucas changed the terminology because, he just basically.
Was it?
I was sitting on the crapper last night and I was realizing we probably shouldn't use all the names that they slapped on the action figures. So let's just go ahead and change it. George, there's approximately 1,200 books. I said change it, So they switched to the Moncala thing. And so I was actually very happy to hear calamari because I feel like it's been a while since we've had something where, like, even in Rebels, they said Moncala.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that made me feel good that it was a nod to coexistence.
All right. So the scene with Carl Weathers I liked because this really sets up how the Bounty Hunters Guild works, and he sets up the whole. Go ahead.
That's one thing I loved about this first episode is it explained a lot of things without explaining.
Yep. Right. Boom.
It was amazing.
It was real.
His genetic, or I don't know what was it called, tracking fob.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
The tracking fobs. Yeah.
I assume it's genetic material in there, but it's never actually explained.
Right.
But that's fine. I don't care.
Yes, exactly.
I don't care.
You don't get it. You don't need to have all
there's
that.
pucks and fobs and all these little devices that are involved in the standard bounty hunting trade.
Basically,
Cool.
the
All
puck has the bio information on the quarry.
Yeah,
and
there's some sort of chain. I can't remember what they call it, but it's like this chain, and I guess it's a chain of numbers or letters that gives description of the person. Because later on they describe the chain, and is it someone
only had the last 4 digits. Right?
Only had the last 2. Well, I think it's only last 2.
Sorry,
and it was the age, I guess.
Yeah.
That was interesting.
So the conversation progresses. He wants to take everything that Carl Weathers has. He's like, well, I can't give it to you.
Well, and the interesting thing there is you feel like he's hiding something.
Yeah.
Like, does he not want to give him why doesn't he want to give him
they're all bail jumpers.
Yeah, they're all bail jumpers. And the other thing is
great.
that like Mike was saying, like, you can tell Carl Weathers is holding something back.
Yeah.
But what it is, you don't know, because first off, he was holding back the fact that he had a non-imperial currency. Then he's like kind of being cagey about how many bounties he's got and how much he can give up. Like, he's not being direct and forthright.
Yeah.
And then, there's one other thing, and it's great because none of it's being phoned in.
It's just the way he says, he got a bail jumper, another bail jumper, another bail. Just like he's so bored, like, well, here's all these terrible things that you will not want.
And they're all
low pay. And I'm going to not give it to you if you try to take them all.
Yeah, exactly. Won't even cover the cost of fuel.
So he ends up getting this job that's kind of off the book, so to speak. It's not a traditional bounty. And he's got to go meet these guys.
He's got to go to Brazil and meet the.
Although it did seem
Nazi.
like he was like right down, like you just.
Yeah, I think it's
around the
on
block.
Yeah, it was like a super secret thing in the back room, but you have to go around and go in the back.
All right, so directly after this scene where he's talking to Carl Weathers, he goes outside. He's walking. Well, he's walking to where he's going to meet with these this new deal that he's doing. And one of the things I love as he's walking through the streets is that you see, like all the street vendors and stuff, and suddenly you see this Quakian monkey lizard that's on a spit.
Now, we saw this in the footage at Celebration, and everybody lost their dang minds. But I don't remember seeing the live Quakian monkey lizard in the cage just panicking.
Just so like, pants down, yes, and there's a live one looking at his buddy going,
and it's straight up as squishy and dopey looking as a puppet as Salacious B. Crumb, which made me feel so good that it was just like, we've already established in universe that this is what they look like.
Yes.
If it looks like a squishy puppet, guess what? It ought to look like a squishy puppet. All right, yeah. Let's not update that.
But I mean, it felt real world to me. It felt like classic trilogy, Star Wars, and I just couldn't help but thinking it's like, and God, and what is the sequel trilogy giving us? Porgs, and I'm like, fuck. Just keep getting reminded about how much better this series seems to be so far.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
So anyway, so he goes on and he meets up with
Herzog, who's leaning into his accent as hard as he can.
Is Werner Herzog like secretly like a huge nerd? He doesn't want to tell anybody about
My
it?
understanding is that Werner Herzog will jump at the chance to play any villain.
Oh.
He loves being villainous. He's a director.
I loved him in
he
that
loves
role,
playing
man.
villains.
He was great in that role.
Oh, he's just
so you know,
nerve-wracking to listen to.
you will not see him again.
Not at all. He's done.
One episode and done.
One
That's
and
it.
done.
So is the doctor.
Oh, really?
Interesting. Well, that's kind of
Spoiler alert.
Shut up.
Jeez.
Well, it's
How can
all
you
over the
possibly
internet.
know that? How can you possibly know that?
I don't know. I look at IMDb and it says one
He
episode.
drinks and he knows things.
I
Come
thought
on.
in
Far.
episode 3 of The
One episode
Mandalorian,
so
he'd go over
far.
and turn over the quarry and take the money and
Yeah, exactly.
We're all done. All right. So this is an interesting scene, too, because he shows up in this kind of back alley place. Werner Herzog is there telling him about what's
all the
going
dirty,
on.
stanky stormtroopers.
The dirty, stinky stormtroopers are
Dirty,
there, right?
stanky.
And
I mean,
it's a
little bit
great
of
scene
toothpaste
because
goes
they're
a long way.
talking, and then this doctor walks through the door, which is interesting. We found out today somebody was taking a closer look at this guy.
Possible spoiler, but not too much.
Yeah, that he has a patch on his arm.
That is appears to be
It
the
is
same as
it's a
cloners.
He's a
Damn
Kaminoan.
goodens.
It's a Kaminoan patch.
Yeah.
So yeah, he might be a cloner of some sort, which may indicate maybe that, you know, some kind of why they want this particular quarry. They might want to clone it, or
Right.
maybe this is one of their clones. Who knows
Yep.
at this point? So he ends up taking the job, and it's like you said, there's no puck, and he does get the tracer, but so anyway, it was interesting that, you know,
Tracking fob.
the tracking fob. There you go. Again, interesting that, you know, we've been shown, you know, how a normal bounty works, but this is going to be different, and it's off the books, and it's a lot of money. And so then he's off, right? He hops
He's
the
paying
ship.
him in Beskar.
Yep.
That's right. Yes.
Yeah, you gotta leave that in.
Yes. No, I'm glad you remembered that.
Pays
So,
him in a little bit of Beskar.
Which-
It just sounds like Werner Herzog is
So-
like taking
I like
a knife
his
to the
accent
gut.
better than yours.
I should hope
Yeah.
so, because I'm
He sounds,
butchered.
who wants
he
to
just sounds
explain, for
evil.
those who don't know, who wants to explain what Beskar is?
Metal.
It's a metal that Mandalorian
Super hard
armor is
steel.
made out of, and it was really well explained before George Lucas took a dump all over Karen Travis's work. But it has been mentioned in Clone Wars and in Rebels. So
It
And
is.
it belongs back to the Mandalorian.
Well, and they mention in here that there was a purge where basically all the Beskar was confiscated, right?
By the Empire, yeah.
Mhm.
And this is like, it's literally like not an ingot, an ingot.
Yeah, that's
And
probably
it's
a good way.
stamped
Mhm.
with the Imperial
With the Imperial.
crest.
Mhm.
So
Yep.
Right.
he's saying it belongs with the Mandalorians. Again, every
Don't
line
you
like it's a knife to the
agree?
gut. Yeah, don't you agree?
I love, for some reason, I love it because it fits.
I do too. It fits,
I
even
do.
though it's a bit much. It still fits.
I loved it. Yeah, every second of it. But so immediately, and the Beskar, of course, Mandalorians. That's
their armor.
That's their religion, basically. So he's under the helmet. He's excited to
once they
get
didn't
it.
have a queen in a capital city.
Yeah, there you go.
They I think they are not going to do that.
Yeah, I think we're just going to pretend that never happened at this point.
So basically, he goes next. He finds himself in a Mandalorian enclave, right?
Yeah,
And,
which also is just next door.
it just happens to be next door.
Yeah, and it's kind of basementy. So
And he walks in, so he's passing a bunch of Mandalorians
and
that
kids,
are
and they got helmets on,
and kids that
Even
have
little
helmet. They're
kids.
all helmeted. Everybody is,
including Boba Fett.
including what looked to be
Boba Fett.
someone in
Fett.
armor that
Fett.
was the same color
Resembling,
as.
yeah.
It wasn't just like
The great.
He didn't. It wasn't just like
He's
okay,
back, baby.
green armor with the red face mask thing. He also had the orange gauntlet. Which
You know
I'm
what?
sorry, that just clashes.
No,
Who would do
it's-
that other than Boba Fett?
It's ridiculous to think that they blew their load in episode 1.
They didn't. It's not blown a load. You barely
Chapter
even
1,
see
Mike.
him in the background. You barely get a glance at him.
I don't buy it.
I think they're sowing the seeds. They're sowing the seeds.
It could be someone who took his armor.
Could be Jaster Morell or whatever.
Yeah, that's right. So anyway, goes in and he
Jodo cast.
Yeah, Jodo Cass. That's the one.
There is there's a smith there, and he basically takes the ingot to the smith.
Well, he takes it to the she. So
Yeah, I didn't.
Mike was correct on that, Garrick.
Oh, okay.
Takes it to the
Garrick's so
smith.
quick to quit.
The smith, who was a girl.
Mike, quit assuming
Yeah,
everyone's
thank you.
gender or something.
Thank you.
And they have a conversation.
That's Gina.
Okay,
That's Gina.
okay,
What's her name? Right?
Okay.
No.
This is a question that I have that maybe other people have, or I'm just dumb, which is probably more the case. But she asked him, "Have you got your
Has your
signet or
your
your
signet been
Yeah,
revealed or
signet,
something?
yes.
What do we know what that is?
Well,
Yeah,
I'm assuming.
like a crest.
Yeah, like a crest, like a family crest, which I'm assuming this might mean that his family, that whole little flashback.
Because I'm thinking
He
cutie
is-
marks on.
He's an
is
orphan.
An orphan, or what
Well,
do
he's
they call him?
A foundling.
Foundling.
A foundling. So he is a Mandalorian that was ripped apart. I'm inferring all of this from that. In the little flashback scenes you get when he has sort of little,
Mhm.
he as a child was ripped away from his parents, and therefore no one really knows who his family was or anything. So he does not have a family crest. So his signet has not yet been revealed. We don't know why those words are that specifically that, but it could be that he goes on some sort of vision quest or something like that.
I assume that they're doing the old school Mandalorian thing from
Where they adopt.
where they would just adopt random
Yeah.
people.
See, that's
Yeah.
what I
as
thought
long
too.
as you like, abide by the Mandalorian
Right.
ways. You are
Yes.
Mandalorian.
Right.
Which that's what I
You
would
adopt.
want.
You basically
It's not
adopt the
like a
culture,
genetic-
right?
Yeah, and that's
exactly.
what I want to be the case. And then I wonder,
Me
okay,
too. Me
the whole
too.
things that we're seeing about, like a couple times mentioning never taking off their helmets, if that's more of like, okay, there's this new Mandalorian philosophy that exists where all these people can become Mandalorians, but they wear their helmets because they're all from different backgrounds. They could be different races. They could be different
Species, right.
species. Even,
Right.
I don't know. They wear their helmets to just be Mandalorian
Right.
together.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's what I'm wondering if they're, if literally
That
this,
would be
this
cool.
can't be true.
That would be
But
cool.
if Filoni and Favreau are literally re-shitting on the shitting on of the Mandalorian
Well,
credo
you don't
from
want 'em-
before to say from here forth, this is the new Mandalorian will be like it was before
There.
in the canon.
Right.
prior.
A retcon in quotey fingers, basically
but just
saying
an
what
adaptation of change.
yes, this is how it was.
We're going to
but
change
this is
it to
how,
what it was, and it isn't.
Right.
But
Exactly.
but it is now.
Yeah, now it is.
Right. No, that'd be cool. I'm hoping that they
would
keep
be
going down
super
that
cool.
route. So anyway, she takes the ingot and she shapes it into a shoulder pauldron for him.
I believe a pauldron
Oh,
is an
just
older.
a pauldron. You could just say pauldron.
That scene was.
It's not a
again,
nut pauldron.
It's not a nut pauldron.
Oh man, I
That-
wish we still had
that,
episode.
that whole scene. What did it last? Like maybe 4 or 5 minutes.
Yeah, it was significant.
That was like a whole episode, right?
Here's a free one,
So
kids.
much was
Here's
told.
here's a free one because if you want to have the best cosplay at the next celebration, cosplay as the Mandalorian Forge. Just have your chest be
Just
chest
the
armor,
forge itself.
and your head and your bottom self is just the Forge with like the little blue flames sticking up. You can figure it out. That thing was bad.
It was pretty cool. It was
Yes.
pretty cool, man. Yeah.
It combined like old school technology with like the new tech stuff.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
great.
I love how she dropped the ingot on there. Just instantly
It
started
was like,
melting.
yeah. Yeah.
All right. So from there, he jumps ship and he hops to the planet where the quarry is to be found and
Meets Nick Nolte.
meets Nick Nolte, who is an Ugnaught.
Cool. He's cool.
Yeah. An
Or Quill,
Ugnaught who speaks and gets so
And,
sick of it that he just finally just goes, I've spoken.
I have spoken.
Could you have found a better voice than Nick Nolte?
Nope, that was perfect, man.
Yeah.
He
Like,
was
was it-
right
was-
on.
Was it? So that wasn't actually Nick Nolte.
My wife's the first thing she said.
No.
That's the first thing she said. Is that's not actually Nick Nolte? I'm like, well, I'm pretty sure Nick Nolte's
No.
more than 3.5.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure too.
Was that mask like? Was that practical effect?
That did that.
'Cause it
I
looked-
kept looking at it. I think that mouth was animatronic because it wasn't fully in sync. Like
Yeah.
it was believable enough to think that he's struggling through his words, and so it didn't. But
But it wasn't CGI.
yeah, if it had been CG,
No.
it would have been too perfect.
Yes.
It looked good.
And
I
the
loved it.
eyes, those
The eyes. How did they? Do, oh, I guess.
Well, those
a
are
real
it's a
person in
person's
the
eyes, but like they looked perfect in that mask.
Right.
You mean made it look kind of like Nick Nolte a little bit.
Kinda,
A little bit.
in a weird way.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Nick Nolte's voice is so just hard to hear, but God, it was perfect
Yes.
for that character.
It was, absolutely was.
Oh my God.
So he gets to the planet, and basically he's going to need some. As soon as basically he gets off the ship, right away.
Yep.
And this is one of the things I love about this character is that initially we're made to believe that this guy's one of those Boba Fett badasses,
Yep.
right? And
But then he gets eaten by a land shark.
and that was amazing, man. I love that this character struggles, man.
Yep.
And so he gets out, he sees these creatures walking around,
Blurs.
and next thing you know,
Yeah, with the New Hope moment.
in a New Hope moment where Luke is attacked by the sand people,
Yeah, literally pops up right in front of
his
the
scope. Yep,
Yeah.
and attacks him. And I love it. He tries to get his flamethrower going, but the thing grabs his arm.
Eats his arm, so there's flames shooting everywhere, and he's getting dragged around. And I'm like, now we're talking my Star Wars. This is how I GM Star Wars, and this is how I want to watch Star Wars.
But I was just like, I mean, in that moment, I was just like,
He botched.
this is what Star Wars is supposed to be. Is it's not just, and I hate to say this because I know this gets brought up all the time, but it's not a Rey moment where Rey is just
Suddenly perfect.
yeah, where in Last Jedi she shoots 3 TIE fighters with one shot,
Yeah, exactly.
kind of thing. Here's a guy who's struggling for everything that he gets, everything.
He has to earn, even though we've already established he's a badass. He has to earn
and he has
every
to-
step.
And it's even more so in the next episode.
Well, yeah.
Exactly.
It's great
So,
because he's probably badass against people because we saw that in the beginning. But when it comes to nature, he's just totally out of his element.
Yeah.
That's true. That's true. That's a good way to put it.
So, yeah.
So basically, Nick Nolte saves him, and
Yeah. By the way, it is an actor playing the Ugnaught.
Yeah. Yeah.
Kyle
Reese.
Kyle Reese.
That's
Kyle
it.
Reese.
Yeah.
Yep.
Back
Basic
from the
package.
future.
Grow him shorter in the
know.
future.
He also plays the Jawa
John
as well,
Connor's
so.
dad,
There you
yes,
go.
plays the Ugnaught. That's right.
He's the new Warwick Davis, apparently.
So basically, he takes him back to his place and have a conversation. And basically, he's like, "Well, you got to learn how to mount one of these things because that's the only way we're going to get to where you need to go."
He's like, I can't pay it. He's like, I'll keep one. I'll keep the cow.
And
The carp
Well,
cow.
half of it.
and
I'll keep
again,
half of one.
in another scene that I just love, he's trying to break this beast so he can ride it.
Yeah.
And Nick
this is
Nolte's-
straight out of like McClintock or something
Yeah,
like that.
seriously.
It's straight out of a Western.
But I love the
Well,
point.
lots of men have tried to mount Black Beauty, but all have failed. Maybe you can, 12-year-old girl.
But I love the situation because he gets to a point where he's like, I'm done with this. This is stupid. I'm wasting my time. How else can we get there? And
And
he's
we
like,
get
this
this-
is it.
We get this sign where all the diehards are touching themselves, tweaking these nips. When
And he goes,
when he
Nick
says this.
Nolte basically looks at him and he goes,
Mandalorian.
"You're Mandalorian." He's like, your ancestors rode the mythosaur.
Rode the great mythosaur. And I was like,
Yes.
That's awesome.
And again,
Yeah.
goes back
hell
to
yeah.
the Star Wars Holiday Special, which actually now we've had a couple references, right?
All right,
Because they do reference. Yeah,
Life Day, baby.
it's back in,
The
baby.
mythosaur is not, it's not like it's been out of canon, but
Life Day.
Life
Day's back.
right. We had Life Day officially. Now, I think Life Day has been mentioned in one of the shows before.
Oh,
One of
has
the
it?
novels.
Yeah, and the
Oh, okay.
novels, but you know what? They
TV's different. We're
It's back in TV, baby.
the masses now.
Just like the holiday
Yeah,
special.
back in
was on
TV. That's right. That's right. So yes, no, it's a reference to the mythosaur is a reference to the beast that Boba Fett is riding in the cartoon where he is first introduced in the holiday special. So
That's his crest too, the mythosaur skull.
which now is the Mandalorian crest in general.
Yeah, apparently.
Yeah, it was back in the day. It was just Boba Fett's crest, but now it's all of Mando crest. So I don't know if that door officially swung at one point or if it just slowly creeped over. But as it all filled in, I think it was one of those things where everybody just adapted it for the Mandalorians.
So good stuff, man. Great references. And I mean, you can definitely see Filoni's influence on the episode,
Yeah,
right?
we're still not to
So-
the end of the first
No,
episode.
we're not.
We're an hour
So-
33.
I know. And they finally get to the place, basically.
Yeah, and now this is the perfect RPG adventure thing.
Yes,
for an intro campaign. It's like, all right, you've reached the place where your quarry is. He's scoping it out. The fob is beeping. You're certain that it's roll perception. Yep. Okay. You're certain that it's inside. Okay.
There's approximately 500 alien species.
Yeah. However,
protecting.
Right as you're about to make your decision on how you like to approach, hand me your character sheet. Yeah. You see
I have green eyes.
6'4" droid that looks a quote heck of a lot like IG-88 but different. What the hell, dude? Are you even trying? All right. Anyway, you see him down below. Okay. Do I have an action? Yeah. Okay. Now it's you. Okay. I shoot everybody. Literally everybody. Dude, are you for real? I've been playing for an hour and you just.
First, I read off the laws of bounty hunter code.
Yep.
So first thing he does is, as he sees the droid walking up there, he goes, droids.
Yeah.
He has a thing against droids.
Bounty droids.
Yeah. So anyway, they go down there and it's kind of OK Corral kind of time, you know.
Pretty much. Well, the droid just decides
it looks like
that
an
it's
old West town.
Yeah, he comes in
beautiful.
Well, yeah, it actually looks like, you know, your literal stereotypical Mexican like village center from all the old spaghetti westerns. But also Tatooineized, even though we never told what planet we're on.
True.
It's somewhere. I did.
Way to go.
Thanks,
I'll
Garrick.
find it for you.
Great.
Dynamite.
So
it's
yes,
Arvala
IG-11.
7.
What's
basically
that?
Arvala 7.
Okay.
There you go. IG-11 walks in, starts shooting the place up.
By the way,
You must comply.
He didn't request their compliance before he started shooting. He just was trying to kill 20 or 30 birds with one stone.
Which is one of the baddest ass scenes in all of Star Wars I've ever seen. Is seeing IG-11 start shooting the place
just
up, man.
Not even trying.
I think it's second
Oh, yeah?
because Vader
One of
walking down the hall.
I didn't say it was the
Rogue
best.
One.
I said it was one of the best.
Oh, I thought you said it was the
Okay, one of the best. I'll give you that.
Yeah.
One of the best. There you go.
And
We'll qualify
finally, we've CG'd a droid that looks like it is moving in a way
Like
that
a robot?
machine
should move.
should move.
yes.
Yeah, it's not
Even
moving
does
like
like a
a
robot
human
walk.
pretending to be a robot.
You know what?
Like I'm not gonna dig on Anthony Daniels' 3PO shuffle because it's beautiful.
No. All right.
But like I will dig on how all the battle droids look like they were marionettes
Yeah.
because they were.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? And then all the CG stuff where everything's just floating perfectly. No, like someone invented the locomotive movement of this droid
Right.
to be a whole different thing. Like when he steps over their corpse, the way his hips swivel, rather than stepping over it awkwardly, his hip just swings around and it's like,
right.
oh, I love it. When he's backing against the pillar, like his servos like just mechanically pushing. I'm literally, I don't have words. I was over the moon for this.
It was
animation.
amazing.
Yes.
It was good stuff.
And Taika Waititi, I'd never get his name right.
Taika Waititi.
Yeah. I guess I kind of did. You could barely hear that it was. I expect him sounded straight up like Korg.
Yeah, right.
You know,
like Guardians. Yes.
Yourself, bad guys. You know, that's what I was expecting.
Right, me too.
But it wasn't at all. It was.
Right.
It was
Nikto.
exactly. Yeah, lots of Nikto.
He was the perfect voice. Like because he still was kind of a little bit dropping his H's
slightly. Yep.
Perfect for a droid because that's what he said. Kind of like a HK-47.
A little bit, like HK. Yeah. Except he didn't say meat bag at any point.
Question.
Yeah.
Interrogative.
Query.
Now I have a question for you guys. At some point, did you have this feeling like, man, I hope they kind of team up for a bit?
Oh yeah, you're immediately wanting that.
Yeah, I want them to kind of team up because their interaction is pretty awesome.
Well, IG-11 shoots him before he.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. He gets down there.
He's like, hey, droid. IG-11 just like shoots him. Whoops.
Yeah. Thankfully, he shoots him in the pauldron.
Yeah. That brand new pauldron.
Oh, I just got that.
Thank God for Beskar. Because from the way it looks, the only actual Beskar he's wearing is his helmet
Right.
and his pauldron.
Yes.
Everything else looks like just cobbled together under Mando layment.
Right. Right.
Yeah, it's like fabric.
Yeah.
Okay, so they get off to a rocky start, but they decide to team up, and they decide that they're going to split the
You're
bounty.
making it sound like this took time. This took 30 seconds.
Yeah, 30 seconds.
It's just like, we're only going to survive this.
So they basically get into the
But there's they're splitting the bounty, but IG-11 says he's accepting all the bounty hunter rep, which is interesting because I guess they have like a bounty hunter like scoreboard.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah, okay.
Which, all of this goes back
sounds
to the
cool.
Bounty Hunter Wars. Honest
Yeah.
to God, and I don't think that was the best trilogy, but it was super interesting.
it was.
And because it
was
made
fun.
bounty hunting way more of a profession and less of just a bad
Right.
guys do this,
Right.
thing. And like the fact that there's a bounty hunters guild and all that, and all
Yeah.
they're really
It's like a
leaning into
scoreboard.
that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well,
Actually-
actually, it takes me back to the book. Garrick, what's that book that had the boundaries?
Take him back there, Garrick.
That had the bounty hunters in it. Saj Ventress,
Oh, Dark Disciple?
the Dark Disciple, because they talked about the guild
Yeah.
just briefly.
Yeah. But
That's cool.
yeah, the fact that he's like wanting to like negotiate while they're getting shot at because he's a droid and he don't
The
care.
funny I want to mention too.
Can we talk
'Cause-
about this later?
Yeah,
I'm gonna
basically
answer
they're
this
getting
right now.
attacked by 500 guys at one point, right? And a guy comes in with a howitzer and starts shooting them up. And the great thing is,
wait. Before the howitzer even happens, though, my favorite thing is when they're getting outnumbered, and he turns to him and he's like, "We are trapped. I will initiate self-destruct."
that's where I was just going.
Yeah.
He keeps trying to initiate the self-destruct, and
No,
his
don't
chest opens.
self-destruct.
His chest opens up, and a thermal detonator comes out.
Yeah, just right there, ready to go. This is
He had to do that about
exactly-
6 times to
This
tell him
is-
to say, no, don't do that.
exactly what role playing with Petrie and Howie is like.
I'm gonna blow myself up now.
Yeah.
Come
Yeah. All right, I'm gonna blow up the ship that we're on. No. I said no.
Why?
Don't do
Yeah,
that.
usually I'm the one that's going to blow up the ship.
Yeah, usually it's Howie that's just pulling the ripcord, man.
Okay, so it's at this point where we get kind of our first taste of the humor
Yeah.
that's going to be in this series.
Which we've talked to a couple people in Discord, especially who
Right.
found it a little jarring.
Some people did. I gotta say, I didn't.
It's 35 minutes. I felt like it's a fair trade at this point.
Yeah.
Also, the dude almost got eaten by like a walking fish. So.
Right. But to me, still the humor still felt understated to me because
Well,
I'm still coming off The Last Jedi,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, I'm not going to
Where
say
everything's poop and fart
I'm
jokes.
not going to say it's understated, but I will say it is not as overstated as the last 5 Skywalker saga movies released.
Wow, yeah, true.
Yeah. 1, 2,
No Jar
3.
Jar, that's for sure.
1, 2, 3, 7, and 8. All the
Right.
humor is way overstated.
Too much. Way too much.
And this one, like the shot, okay, you talk about like the howitzer they brought in.
Right.
When they're looking at the blast door after they've finished off all the dudes, and they're
Right.
like, oh, how are we going to, just look at the blast door, looking at it like, okay, but there's no dialogue. Just the
Right.
droid and him are both looking at it.
Right.
And then you see a shot where just the blurry front of the howitzer, the blaster cannon, is in the foreground, and the two of them slowly
Look
turn
at it,
and
yeah.
look at it.
Oh,
See,
I
yeah.
love
This
that
this
shot. I
reminds
love
me
it.
so much of Han and Chewie.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. That's the
Which has
yes.
been missing from Star Wars
Yes.
since Return of the Jedi.
Yes. Amen.
Other than some cartoon moments, some animated moments.
Rogue One, I thought was pretty good with it for the most
you're
part.
Right, you're right.
So so there's been some moments, but to me, this is in that
Solo
classic.
had a little Han and Chewie.
A little bit, a little bit. But even then, even in Solo was a little.
I think I
Little
honestly
much
think the man
sometimes.
this whole scene nailed it so much better than anything else has nailed it.
In a long
time.
dang
long time. Amen.
The even Solo, it's
Yeah.
nailed it.
And
Yeah, as much as I love that movie,
Yeah,
it's not just good Star Wars. It's just good TV.
It
Yes.
is. It really
Like-
is. Yep.
funny.
Like,
The two things can be synonymous.
Amen.
yeah, interesting.
Amen.
or
It
like
can-
even when he said up top and then I just pointed the didn't even look.
Yeah, just points the guns up as he's
probably
walking under.
my one nitpicky complaint was when that guy hit the ground. It was an obvious cartoon falling sound when he hit the ground.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was like, okay, but I was like,
Kerplop.
it was funny.
All right. So to kind of fast forward a little bit, they get inside the dwelling and shoot off the last bit of bad guys.
Anybody else?
And the,
Yeah, literally. Anybody else?
You know, he pulls out the tracker. He sees this little ball, this little pokeball
It's
in
a
the
hover
corner.
bassinet.
It's a Pokeball.
Hover bassinet. Yeah, looks like
I'm sorry, a repulsor bassinet.
There you
A
go.
That thing was-
repulsinet.
is- That thing is
So,
awesome. I'm
they
sorry.
go up
That's
to
probably
it.
my favorite.
I'm like,
technical
I
Now-
wish I had
freaking
one of
show.
these.
Before the big reveal, you have to remember that back earlier in the episode that it was revealed that the bounty was 50 years old.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
'Cause
yeah,
the
it's a 50-year-old bounty.
Right.
Yeah.
So
50-year-old. Yeah.
it opens up and it is
Spoiler:
what
if you
appears
don't
to be-
want to, if you don't want to
if you're
know,
listening,
then
then
screw
Well, if you
you.
got this far, you've already been
Yeah,
spoiled.
we're past
Yeah.
it. Even I think we're past it.
it is an what appears to be a young child infant
That's
of
the spoil.
same species
the same
as
unknown
Yoda.
species of the Yoda and the Yaddle.
Yes.
A Yiddle.
Which I've decided immediately to ship Yoda and Yaddle and name it
Oh, I've been
Yodel.
doing that for years. Where you been?
And I named the child Yodel.
Nice.
But
Yeah.
Petrie suggested what I feel is a better name, and I have to concede it. Yiddle.
Yiddle.
Yiddle is a better name because
Yiddle.
it's so Yiddle.
It's so
This one, Peaches.
Literally the cutest alien ever in ever.
Especially the second episode.
Oh my gosh. So
Like,
anyway,
I'm in love.
IG-11
So-
immediately has to kill it. So you find out that the bounty probably didn't come from the same Werner Herzog that
Or it did, and
well,
just
he
hired
said
everybody.
if it must be murdered, and the doctor's like, whoa, we don't want it dead. And he's like, I'm trying to be pragmatic. And so there's another Queen Amidala coming at some point. But they were going to pay like substantially more for it to be alive. But IG-11's like, no, I got to kill it. And it's like, okay, wait a minute.
So there's two different
yeah, forces that know about this thing at least.
or the same force, but with two different motives.
Right. Yeah, I'm maybe. So Mandalorian.
Because Grief Karga was talking about how nobody wants to use the guild anymore, so they're just using random dudes and super messy.
But Mandalorian drops
Probably.
IG-11 like a bad habit.
That was that
Right as
first
you're
one I
falling
saw-
in love with
Because
this
he's
Marvel
getting
team
ready
up.
to because IG-11's getting ready to kill Baby Yoda.
And
for that split second, I thought he actually did it. I'm like,
it's not Yoda. You can't say
That's
Yoda because
dark.
people get confused.
I know.
My child
It's going to be
is-
Baby Yoda.
My child has sworn several times that no, Dad, I think it's Baby Yoda. I'm like, let me explain to you, dude, dead.
He died.
He's dead, and
He
you
died.
know that he's dead.
He died.
Unless he's a clone, that he is the Baby Yoda.
No,
oh,
like he's Yoda.
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 Oh my
All right.
Yoda.
So there's some weird forces at play here, right? Which
Yoda.
brings us to episode 2.
Well, I will
And,
say IG-11 could still be alive.
That's
Yeah,
right,
no.
because there are any number of coffee makers throughout.
No, he's
I'm
only
going-
in one episode, so
I'm going to go ahead and spoil it and tell you that IG-11 is still alive because there are photos of other episodes with him and the girl.
It could just be another bounty droid with the
It
same
is
personality. Why not?
It's IG-11.
Well, I'm saying it could be other
That's true.
IG-11s.
It's IG-11.
That's fine.
It's,
What I'm saying is I'm perfectly
Well,
fine either way.
the actor who played in the first episode is only one episode.
Well, that I mean,
So
far.
well,
Wait,
and
no,
unfortunately,
out of 8 episodes,
he's the
only
only
in
one who can dislocate his hip when doing the mocap.
No, I'm saying Takihi Waihidi.
Well, he's
doing
directing the last episode.
The voice
so-
actor is
Yeah.
only one episode.
Okay, so that brings us to episode 2, and basically now it's time for the Mandalorian to make off with with baby
Yoda.
Yiddle.
Yiddle.
Okay.
I'm still gonna say Baby Yoda.
So this is where it gets kind of cray-cray, right? So he gets back to his
This is when
ship, and
Jawas
Like
be
it's
jawing.
No, he gets attacked by Trandish.
no, he got.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
That's
the
true.
Trandoshans. That's right. Yeah.
And they also have a track.
They have a tracking fob that is very clearly beeping
there's-
at Yiddle.
Lots of people out looking for
Yes,
this
you-
baby Yiddle.
He's a hot commodity.
At first, I thought the tracking fob was for him.
No, but yeah,
yes,
he
it was
points
for
it
the-
out.
all right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yep.
So takes care of the Trandoshans,
Beats
which
the
was
tar out of the
He disintegrates one.
Trandoshans, as some of you prefer.
He
This,
disintegrates
yes.
he was
Which-
going for baby Yiddle to kill it. Because I guess they're out.
Supposedly, yeah, it was running at Yiddle.
And he just
Mando
like straight
said-
up disintegrates him with his
A man has to do what a man has to do to save his baby
So
Yoda.
now we know what no disintegration means.
Yeah, now we know why Vader said no disintegrations
And
because
it's not
Mando's
even
be
like
disintegrating.
It's not even a blaster rifle. I don't know what it is.
It generates some sort of energy thing that makes biological material just disintegrate.
That's insane.
And your clothes drop to the ground.
And it's a single shot weapon.
single
Yeah.
single fire, single
Single
shot
fire,
weapon, which
yep.
I love that.
Okay, so then he gets back to the ship,
I'm like
which
done
is
with our shit.
summarily
breech
being torn
loader.
apart by the Jawas, who
Yeah.
have pretty much dismantled it almost down to the frame
Yeah.
at this point.
But he still tries to, give it a go, but not
It
at
is-
first. Not at
It
first.
is hilarious because he gets down there and he's like, "What the f?" And he starts shooting at him, and
He makes
and
a
There are-
Jawa go poof.
Yeah,
as
there
well.
are more disintegrations.
Yeah.
the Jawas run back into there because they've got their big crawler with them.
Yep.
And
So
they
now
take
you
off.
finally get to see on film, you get to see what it's like to reenact the first scene from Super Return of the Jedi
Super Return of the Jedi.
on
Yes.
SNES, where you're trying to climb up the outside. Or I wouldn't know, it's Super Star Wars. I'm sorry, I've been saying Jedi this whole time. Super Star Wars, where you're trying to jump up the different sides of the sandcrawler, and there's
while they're
little
trying to shoot
doors and
you.
Jawas popping out. It's exactly what happens.
It's exactly. Yep.
Like
Pretty
he's like
much.
going through the most brutal like cutting of laughing you've ever seen. They're all popping out of little doors and saying "sock it to me" and then throwing stuff at him.
They're all throwing junk at him.
Yeah.
I love it because the guys that are piloting the thing are trying to knock it. They're trying to run into the side of the mountain.
Yeah, they try to pull
kill
it. They
him.
try to pull a Last Crusade.
Yes,
And
right.
drag him into the cliff there, and meanwhile I'm cracking up, going, "Oh, they're Last Crusade! And, oh man, I got to the bridge of a sandcrawler for the first time. I'm on cloud 9!" Like I'm just dying the whole scene.
So finally he gets to the top. He finally gets to the top, throws the last one down. He gets up there and
Like 10 or 12
scales the
of them.
wall. And there's probably 12 of them right there. And they all pick up their guns.
They all got their ion droid blasters, and they're like, "Well, you're at close range, and you might be able to
Guess what,
shrug
buddy?
off one of these, but watch what 12 of them do, pal."
They all shoot him at one time.
They did 12D stun.
And he falls a long way.
Yeah.
We forgot a really fun part before this.
Okay.
Remember. So like after he gets attacked by the Trandoshans, he's like he's trying to he got cut. So he's trying to like
Oh,
I
yeah,
guess,
right.
fuse together his wound with electricity or something.
Yes,
yeah.
right.
And the baby Yiddle jumps out.
Yeah, he just climbs out of the
and comes out and
repulsor net.
holds out his hand and starts to close his eyes. And he's like, "What the hell are you doing? Get back in
He
here."
keeps
Yeah.
putting him back in.
Shoves him in there and
his
closes
Yiddle
it.
pops right back out again, walks over, reaches out, closes his eyes. I'm like, Yiddle's trying to use the force, but he's like,
Yeah.
"Give me back here."
Which was great. He's like, "What the hell is this thing doing?"
Yeah. Leave me the hell alone.
I love that because we as the audience knew what the baby was trying to do.
Yeah.
But he's like, what the fuck is this?
I'm just ready for the baby to sit up and it's going to be like Gremlins 2 and it's just going to start talking and sound exactly like this.
That's,
'cause
what
he's
I've,
50
been,
years
that's
old.
what I've been saying the whole time. It's going to talk. At 50 years old,
Yeah.
it might be
Yeah.
biologically
It could have
little
been
for
in
its
stasis.
species.
There was like some like fog and stuff that came out of the repulsor net when they first opened
yeah,
it.
maybe, but
But regardless, I just really want this thing to be super mouthy and be like, "You never asked my name." You know? I never told you.
The
I
one
have a
thing,
feeling.
the one thing I love about these
Well, you don't
two
talk.
episodes so far is
Stop
they
spreading
do
the
a lot of showing.
Yep.
And
not
not
a lot of
telling.
telling, not a lot of dialogue in the show.
Like, this whole half this episode was dialogueless.
Yeah. At least.
Yeah.
At the
Yeah, at
very least.
So
At least
after
more, I would
after
say.
his failure with the Jawas, he goes back to his Ugnaught buddy.
He walks baby Yiddle because the nice thing, the repulsor net just follows him.
That thing is the coolest thing
He's got a
ever.
little
Yeah.
remote. Yeah, Garrick's like,
It
I
is
would have
the
not lost
coolest
my
thing.
daughter all those times.
I know.
Because it just
And
follows
you,
him.
You just have a button on your gauntlet and you just point your fist where you want it to go.
Yeah,
It's
you use
great.
gesture controls your bastard repulsor net.
Oh
yeah.
man.
Yep.
So it's funny. So there's a moment there, and actually, we didn't say this before, but the Ugnaught, he agreed to help him because basically the presence of this baby
Yeah.
has brought a lot of turmoil to his valley.
Yeah.
And so that's why he agreed to help. And it's funny because once he sees it, he's like, this is what's been causing all the problems.
What the hell is it? And he's like, I think it's a child,
He's
but I'm
chasing
not sure.
this frog around.
Yeah, and then just
That's
eats
so
a
great.
frog.
Love it.
That's
Love
good
it.
stuff. He's like, take it out of your mouth.
Too late. Gulp.
Yep, that works for me.
Now we know that they eat more than just twigs and sticks.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, there's
It's
always
true.
a bigger fish because in Return of the Jedi, the frog ate the lizard.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
And he had the high ground, so
Yeah, there you go.
All right. So basically, he tells the Mando that, look, the only way you're going to get your parts back with these from these Jawas is if you got to trade with them. And
Like, I'm not doing that.
which
It's all right that you nuked 2 of them.
which leads to a great conversation that they have.
So
Yeah.
great.
You know,
I
they're
love
sitting
this
there
part.
and they're talking about trading, and they want his Beskar.
Yeah.
No, they're like, they pull up and they're like, I don't think they like you very much.
Yeah,
He's like, well, I
well-
did disintegrate a few of them.
Yeah.
Which I thought was great that it didn't stop him from trading with them, though. That was
Yeah.
hilarious.
Because, well, that's like their religion.
yeah.
Yeah.
That was my favorite line from both of these episodes, where he's like, okay, they want you to put your weapons away because, you know, you disintegrated them or whatever. He's like,
Yeah.
well, I'm a Mandalorian. Weapons are part of my religion.
Yeah, you're like, weapons are basically my religion.
I'm like, that is awesome.
It was
Yeah.
good. Yeah, good stuff. So of course they want the Beskar, right, to be able to trade back, and I thought it was great because he's like, yeah, no, that's not happening.
Yeah,
He-
like,
he
try
shrugs
this,
it off.
flamethrower.
Right.
Here's the thing, because as you're getting ready, let me say the difference between the thing what you just said and the thing you're getting ready to say is that they say, you know, we want your armor, and he's like, yeah, it's not gonna happen. But then there's got to be something else, and he turns and looks, and 2 of the Jawas are heading over to Yiddle. And he doesn't say no, that's not going to happen. He yells, "Get away from it!" Like now he's
From
pissed.
it.
Even though, he doesn't know if it's a boy or girl.
Right.
He didn't
That's
check, as far as we
hilarious.
know. But
Not
like
changing its diapers.
he got
What's
way
going on?
angrier about
So many
that
questions.
than his armor.
Right.
Which I think
True.
that's important. It could,
Yeah, it is,
You
yeah.
could also say if he were to get a bunch more Beskar from Werner Herzog, that means a lot more armor, but
Sure.
still, who
Yeah,
knows? There's
true.
stuff going on there.
Right. There's more going
oh
on
yeah,
here.
there's a lot of underpinnings that
Right. Is he going to give is he going to, give it up for the payment, or is he going to identify with it since he's a foundling and this kid's a foundling, and there's a lot of undertones going on right here.
Oh yeah.
So anyway, so they're continuing the conversation, and there's got to be something else, and actually at one point the Mando breaks into his Jawa-ese or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And they start laughing at the
Yeah,
Jawas.
the Jawas all
start
start
laughing.
laughing. And then we get a Jawa with subtitles.
Yes.
But it's
Finally.
okay because everybody's speaking Jawa right now. So, okay. But it's only for like 1 line or 2 lines, and then they go right back to just,
Yes.
nope, you don't know what
Yes.
the Jawa is saying. I'm like,
It's
that
great.
would normally piss me off, but they earned it. They earned it.
So they start laughing at him, and they're like, "Geez, your Jawa's terrible
Yeah,
because you
dude.
sound like a Wookiee."
Yeah, and that pisses him right off. Because traditionally, again, from old canon,
Yes,
Mandos are
Mandos-
not Wookiee fans.
No, right? Yeah,
all.
they are not fans of each other. That's true.
So that like he got mad, like he was like, "I'm a Wookiee, you Wookiee." Like he's like,
at one point he's like doing his flamethrower at him.
"Oh yeah, you actually shot the flamethrower right at him. I forgot."
You understand this?
Yeah,
Gosh, those episodes are so great. So finally, they come to an agreement. They agree that he's going to go get an egg for them.
yep.
The egg.
Jerry.
You're like,
Jumping
oh
up
my
and
gosh,
down.
what is this egg? What is this all about? Well,
Mine.
okay, and see, and this is what I love about this
They are like
episode. I know there's been some
those-
criticism in our Discord and stuff that, oh man, this felt like a filler episode. There wasn't much here in advance.
I haven't
You
seen
know.
any of the Discord yet because I watched it only an hour before we started recording tonight.
Well, there's 1 or 2 people that were kind of mentioning that, but I felt like, that we're so new into this series that
I
to
can't-
me
yeah.
everything is brand new.
yeah,
So I'm tolerant of that.
I didn't get filler at all.
No, I felt like this is character development.
What I felt like this was the not the falling down. This was the payback of the series to establish the fact that he's a badass, but he's having the
Yes.
worst day.
We're- Yes, amen.
This is falling down.
And you know
Yeah.
what? And it's a classic quest too.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, we got to go, defeat
It's a
the big
classic
monster.
quest, but it's not because it's not one big quest. It's all the
Yes.
little side
Little
quests,
tiny
just
things.
trying to get the ball over the line.
Just want to get the baby
Yeah.
off planet.
Yeah. Yeah,
The
no,
best part is
it's only 20,000.
Yeah, it's the worst luck. He has to do this quest because they stole his shit, and
Yeah.
they're going to sell
basically-
it back to him.
Yeah,
He pulls up-
They stole his stuff, and he has to do a favor for them to get his stuff.
I know it's
the
just
worst day.
it is. It's hilarious.
After getting eaten by a walking fish, you know what I
While
mean?
babysitting.
And then having to deal with a droid, fight about 900 dudes, find out he's got to babysit, then getting beat up by a bunch of Trandoshans, and then and then finding ships. I mean, oh my god!
So he pulls up to this cave that looks like an anus in the side of the mountain.
Yeah,
right?
my daughter watched it. And she goes, "Dad, that looks like a." No, let me say this is exactly. She goes, "Dad, that looks like a." BH. And I'm so old I had to stop and think. Hey, wait, what's a B? Oh, butthole. Yeah, no. Even though I'm already going, well, that looks like an anus in my head, right?
So he enters the anus and
like you do.
And he riles the creature basically.
Yep.
And wackiness ensues.
Yeah.
And he
wackiness.
gets the shit kicked out of him by this thing.
He didn't have the handy chain that Anakin had in Ep 2 when he fought one.
Not so much.
He gets flung out of the anus.
Yeah, he gets expelled from the anus.
And his armor is
torn to shit.
Which it was already beat up. He was having to do some repairs.
Right.
But now it's bent in every other way.
It broke off. Yeah. I love that, man. I mean, because we've never seen that stuff before. We didn't know there's we just think it's a chest armor, right?
Yeah, no, it's got electronics and like stuff to absorb all it. Yeah,
right.
Yeah,
and he's completely covered in mud as well.
Yeah, drugged through the mud.
In fact, there's a song. There's one of the songs in the episode's called "The Mud."
Nice.
Oh, interesting.
Nice.
All right, so he's getting his ass handed to him, and just when you think. Oh, actually, he gets to a point where, he's lost his gun.
He's so beat up. He even starts to kind of pass out, but then it does a close-up of Yiddle, and he kind of comes back to.
Well, he gets to the point where it's basically him, the monster, and his knife, right?
Well, before that, though, like he's laying in the mud, and literally, like it starts doing the camera pan out like you do when someone's dying on the ground, like it's doing the Walter White camera going straight up in the air while pointed straight down. And then you look at Yiddle, and then it comes back, and it goes right back into him. So it's almost like he was down and out.
He's done.
And Yiddle might have gone, nuh-uh, child.
Well, but he gets up and he is basically ready to die at that point.
He
just pulls out the knife and kind of puts his head down.
I love that scene.
Yeah.
It's like he's giving up an offering, like, okay, I'm going to die.
I'm going to die, but maybe you'll impale yourself on me.
I freaking loved it.
Yeah.
And then right before the strike, all of a sudden, nothing happens, and he opens his eyes and
matters
fingers.
effing not. That's what happened.
Right. So if there was any question about this baby being force sensitive, it is now answered.
Yeah. Yeah, baby Yiddle made the thing dangle.
He basically stopped the animal and hung it in the air.
Now here, I had thought initially that all he had done was like touch the animal's mind and got it to stop charging, which was badass enough.
He probably did that.
Way badass enough. But then he made it dangle in the air.
Yes.
And I was like, I didn't even need that, but I'm not offended by it.
I think he did both because the animal was calm.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
So it wasn't thrashing about or anything.
Right. He dangled it in the air, and its little feet was kind of doing a little dangle dance. Like,
and then basically Mando got to get up and get the death strike.
Yeah,
right?
The death strike is like, puts his 2-inch knife in.
He hit it in the one place that it was.
The one place that kills it. Yeah.
In the neck somewhere.
Stuff.
So then he's got to go back in the anus and find the egg, right?
Yep. So he finds the fuzzy egg in the anus.
It's like a shag carpet.
Takes it back to the Jawas, gets his parts, and so then you're like, the egg? What the heck?
I knew all along this.
What
gag,
is this egg?
I knew this gag was coming. That this thing, because first off, Jawas don't give a crap about eggs. Jawas are about tech and trading. That's what Jawas do. So if they wanted an egg, I knew it was because they was just hungry. They wanted something They wanted a tasty treat. He said, "What do I got to do to get my shit back?" And they said, "Take us to Dairy Queen."
The tribe leader basically pulls out his knife,
hacks off the top, and they just dip their hands in. It's like freaking Veruca salt. They're just going in and pulling the chocolate out and rubbing it on themselves. They're like, give me some of that Cadbury goodness up in here.
That was good stuff.
They're
man.
just literally raw eggs, slapping it onto the black sackcloth that's over their faces.
It's just rubbing salt in the wound, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
and he's like, really?
He's
All
like,
right, whatever.
that's what I did this for.
Yep. Yeah, I
to get his parts back that you guys had stolen.
Yep.
Finally gets his parts back.
And he took you
Finally
to
gets
Sonic.
Like he's got the hover lift and it's just mound of parts a little bit.
Yeah, they barely fit because they stole so many parts. They have to they had to go out to the hardware store, buy some bungees, like you do.
Yeah, it reminded me of the Grinch.
Yeah.
The big old sleigh.
So gets his shit put back
Backs the
together with the
blurb
helps
with
of Nick Nolte and
Yeah, now he has to put his ship back together.
It's
yeah, I
gonna
know.
take days. It might go faster if you help.
Like, it's gonna help. They just A-team that thing back together.
Oh,
Like,
man,
so-
seriously.
I was waiting for the theme music to kick in.
I was waiting for him to break out the duct tape, man.
Yeah, the duct tape. they give each other high fives.
Yeah, right.
High five, handshake.
There's a cigar break in the middle. Yeah.
Good stuff, man.
They get the shit back together. Mando says, "Hey, I could use somebody like you on a crew."
I love this scene, man.
Because the Mando's like what you're like, even though he's like a lone wolf, he knows value when he sees it.
Yeah.
So I like this because it's not a lone wolf because he wants to be a lone wolf. He's a lone wolf because he has to be a lone wolf until he doesn't.
Right. And
he's like, hey.
he sees value in this Ugnaught.
Yeah.
He's like, hey, you want to be part of my crew? I'll pay you handsomely.
Well, he actually, the first thing he says is, I'll give you a share of the bounty.
I'll give you half.
And dude turns it down flat, and he's like, "You're my guest. It's my honor to serve."
Yeah,
you."
basically his cultural norms basically say I can't take payment.
Yeah, I can't take payment from you. All I can do is serve you as best I can and play keep away droid parts with Wookiees. That's literally all we're allowed to do.
Well, and he's
brought
also
peace to his
thrilled.
valley.
He's thrilled about clearing out the valley.
Right.
So
Yeah. So then he turns him down, and we're all just like, but yeah,
Aw,
okay. I mean,
more.
cool, but okay.
I have spoken.
Yeah, I have spoken. And then, flies off. Except not.
I love the end credits on these episodes.
Oh, the watercolor like paintings of the
They
different
look-
shots from the
They
show.
look like a cross between 80s sci-fi pulp novel covers and like old Western.
I was going to say
covers.
straight up Old West.
It's like a
credits.
cross between the two. And they're so cool because they tell us what the show is about, basically.
Yeah, it's pretty much a
And
storybook.
just different scenes. Yeah. So
on that same kind of note, the score for this has been I've gotten used to it it's different, yes.
yeah.
Like that first episode, I was like, man, I really don't know what I feel about this score. But after this second episode, I'm like, I'm feeling it, man. I'm getting in the pocket.
Yeah.
So I'm glad you brought that up. Because it's time for me to wipe my butt with the theme from The Mandalorian. Not the credits theme. Credits theme with the byong. That's fine.
Right.
It's basically, I mean, Howie, you have the theme over there, right? Right here.
of the
Of the
Mandalorian.
yeah.
Yeah. So the sort of action theme now that the actiony march theme that we've gotten in both the first and second episodes,
Right.
which, Petrie had said it sounded like some sort of like 80s montage music or something like, or Karate Kid type music.
Maybe.
And I said, oh no, this song, you have it, Howie?
Are you talking about
You
what
gotta
I played at the
you gotta
beginning?
turn it back. Yeah. Well, the part where we get to past the initial Western part and the part where it starts doing the boom, 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 boom. Yeah. Give me there. Go to that part and right on the timeline where that starts.
So this
There
is
you
the
go.
very beginning.
So right here, we got to give it a minute, I think. And then,
Boom.
and this has got the heavy Western underpinnings.
Yes.
Not even underpinnings, just Western. Ba-bum, ba-bum, ba-bum. So, okay, that song right there. Let me ruin it for you. Ready?
Oh no! Don't ruin it.
The theme from Rocky, and you hear that? And the theme from Temple of Doom just got together and had a baby. And it is this song.
Yeah.
All right, you don't have the other ones queued up, right?
No.
So the theme from Rocky, all right, cut it, or I'm not gonna be able to do it. Theme from Rocky is, and then the Temple of Doom, which is
yeah.
almost the exact same chord progression.
Okay.
So you're literally just mashing Daddy Rocky into Mama Temple of Doom, and
That's what it is. That's
And
what
I
this
don't,
show is.
I don't mind it.
It's Rocky meets Temple of Doom.
That's the thing. It may stand out to me, but you're talking. These are two of my favorite theme songs. So okay.
I like how they're doing like there's experimental esque music going on. Like I think at one point they're using electric guitar.
Yep.
Which you know in Star Wars it's all this orchestrated stuff.
Right.
And that's fine because it's a space opera.
Yep.
So I think the music brings.
I think for some people it might take a little bit getting used to, and it is for me.
It did for me. The first episode had so many different.
I think they didn't know what they.
But I'm just, I mean, I'm at a point where I'm like, hey, this is new. I'm gonna sit back and just absorb at this point, and I like it, man.
Hey, dude, I didn't even get real Star Wars music in the first couple prequels, so or barely did. You know what I mean? So I'm kind of like, go nuts. Just don't, as long as I'm not listening to like Ariana Grande Star Wars, I'm okay.
Word.
Not that I want trash on her, but I don't want pop music in there.
Yeah.
I don't want E.T.
Yeah, Dave Filoni did one. He definitely wanted to have a distinctive, different feel, but yet have it still be Star Wars.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I think you still have the brass in there, right? I mean,
that's exactly why they have that in there,
right?
Yeah.
What if they bring in Annie Lennox to sing like a real sad
No
song?
more I Star Wars.
Then it becomes Lord of the Rings. So
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Pretty much.
awesome.
Into Tatooine, maybe.
Into Tatooine. Is
So,
Tatooine in the
so
list?
pretty much
Into the Tatooine.
Yeah,
It's like Western-esque.
I suppose.
So pretty much thumbs up from everybody on this, huh?
Resounding thumbs
Double
up.
thumbs.
I'm not
I'm
a suck
excited.
up. I am never going to say that anything is perfect. But if they were going to do a first time out TV show, I would never have expected it to have been better than this. And that is not a put down. Like I couldn't imagine it having any way that it could be better than what they've done. I can nitpick things that I would have done differently, but my expectations have been at least met and most likely exceeded, even though I had them amped up pretty freaking.
Mine are
exactly.
far exceeded.
Yeah.
I knew it was going to be good.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was going to be this good.
Hell
I'm with you. Like I'm psyched going into watching the show, and I was kind of scared that it wouldn't live up.
Well,
I'm
you
not
know
mad
me,
about waiting
I
to watch
was-
the third episode. I'm gonna watch the second one about 10 more times.
I went
with
into this
you.
whole thing saying it was going to suck. It was going to be terrible.
What?
And so, I definitely be on.
Howie's Howieing you. All right, it's Fly Casual, so we've got to nitpick at least a little bit. What's the one thing you'd change?
Oh,
geez, you
Man.
crickets, Lord.
You sprung that on us.
Here it is.
Yeah,
for me.
man.
This is cheap. This is a cheap shop. I'm gonna take it. I would like every episode to be 10 minutes longer. Thank you. This 35-minute bull crap.
I don't know.
I don't know. 35
fit
feels
it
good, man.
perfectly in
Well,
there.
yeah, but
I
you
think
have
it
the
feels
attention
good.
span of a crumpled up piece of paper.
Nah, it feels good.
I want it to feel like an hour-long show on TV, which means 43 to 47. So,
If they stretch it out 10 minutes, it could get a little draggy.
nah.
If it was me, some of the sound effects were cartoony. Like when he was climbing up the side of the sand crawler, there's obvious
Oh, when
cartoon
the thing hit him in the head, and it's like clang.
Right.
Yeah,
you
I'm
know,
like,
some of
okay,
it, you're right. You're right. Some of it doesn't feel as cinematic, but I'm willing to overlook that because I know this is a TV show and they don't have the same kind of budget.
We're overlooking all of it, but this is if you had your druthers.
I guess. Yeah. I mean,
it's totally not a game breaker. I'm just like,
right.
Yeah.
I'm
Exactly.
nitpicking, like I said.
Yeah.
Right.
Howie, what would you change?
I don't know. I honestly don't know yet.
More
'cause
boobs. You'd have more boobs in it, right?
My boobs.
I'm not near as
Plus, huh?
nitpicky as you guys, so I don't spot things if I'm fully
Chris Hardwick.
if I'm fully immersed in it, then like you guys are talking about the sound effects, I got to go back and listen because I didn't even notice them at all.
Honestly, the couple of the ones or the first one that Garrick mentioned, like when the dude fell off the river, like I didn't pick up on that one, but I actually kind of guffawed.
It sounded like Charlie Brown hitting the ground.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about. I know what you're talking
Basically sounded like every dude falling down in every old Western.
about. It's like,
Yes, exactly.
But when the thing hit him him on the helmet when he was climbing up the sandcrawler, I guffawed at how like
they were going for like that feel, and that's fine.
They leaned into it pretty heavy, but that's okay.
Again, I didn't even notice.
Howie, you know what your problem is? You don't take good enough notes.
I would say it's amazing how like one of the, I guess, major characters hasn't even been introduced.
Yeah,
maybe two. Like
they won't be until halfway
there's
through.
Been two or three, I think.
I've heard
most of them won't be until halfway through.
Gina Carano and Giancarlo Esposito have not even been mentioned.
I have read in 2 different articles in the past few days that are probably ignorant, but I don't know now, that the Mandalorian Smith is Gina Carano.
No.
Oh, really?
And I'm like, wait a minute, she's a rebel chick, blah, blah, blah. Okay, good. Yeah.
The actress is Emily.
When I read that the first time, I went...
Emily Swallows.
When I read it the first time, I went, no, it's not. When I read it the second time, I went, wait.
And she's only in 1 episode.
All right.
So far.
I want to let you know
I
that
don't want you to do this anymore.
There are...
I don't want you to do this.
There are like 4
I don't want you to. I want you to stop now. I don't want you to continue.
More than 1 episode.
We are not friends anymore.
I'm just letting you know.
Accomplished.
The Mandalorian's in 2 episodes. So I guess
he's not in anymore.
That's it.
That's it.
I feel better about this exchange.
I do want you to know that the guy who was physically oh
Lord,
the Ugnaught.
Yes,
he's in 7 episodes.
Really?
Oh.
You're just making stuff up.
No, I'm not.
Well, this podcast has been over for over an hour, so I don't even,
Good show.
I think I forgot to tell people to go to Twitter at FlyCasual1138 and find the link to the Discord, because we're having a lot of really great conversation. We've set up a Mando spoiler channel in there, but nobody's going to hear about it because we ended the podcast an hour ago. So I'm not going to tell anybody to go out to wherever they get the podcast, give us a nice little review. I'm not going to be able to tell people to check out the Fly Casual podcast channel on YouTube, where Mike is breaking up the episodes into bite-sized pieces and putting them up there so you can digest them in your warm little bellies.
He's also posting other stuff without telling us.
And,
what?
Yeah,
motherfucker. It's all public.
That's 2.
You guys can go there.
That is 2, Mike.
MF.
No, but the podcast has been over since the first one.
That's true.
Yeah, what are we talking? This is bonus material.
I think you mean Mother McClunker.
Yeah, Mother
that's
McCluskey.
What I said. Yeah, McCluskey.
Anyway.
McCluskey.
All right. Signing off. Over there's Corey. There's Mike.
Why are you still
Garrick?
And Howie.
You guys,
McClunky.
You guys gonna smoke?
The McClunkers.
You guys going out?
Probably.
All right.
We hope you enjoyed this special edition of Fly Casual. If you haven't already, please subscribe and rate us at iTunes, Stitcher, and all your favorite podcast locations. It is important that you rate us so that we can reach more and more people. As always, be sure to check out the show notes at betterkind.com. There are also many, many ways to join in on the conversation. Follow us on Twitter at FlyCasual1138. Like us on Facebook, facebook.com/FlyCasualPodcast. We are also now on YouTube, so please take a moment right now to subscribe and ding the bell for updates. We are also now on Discord as well. Lots of opportunities to chime in. Reach out and say hi. Talk to you soon.